Do you think you'd ever be straight if you found the right guy?
Why does everything have to be so complicated?
If you want something bad, you have to fight for it. Break out the L word.
Lesbian?
Hello friends, trace amounts of science. Today we're getting back into some r/nice guy stories. They're all text-based and probably mostly delicious. A little more nice guys today. Nice guys been hot lately, so we gotta do the nice guys. Gubbins, are you still excited about the nice guys or what's going on?
More nice guys? Don't you want a break, Soft Chief? Maybe we go see some puppies and make finger paint? But Gubbins doesn't have fingers. I guess nice guys it will be. Gubbins.
That's right. Yeah, I have fingers, but I'm unfortunately indentured to the YouTube minds, and I don't have time for finger painting. So let's go ahead. We'll get it rolling. Enjoy some nice guys. And also, hey, thanks so much for being here today. Our first post, OP says, I think my friend might be turning into a nice guy. Should I say something? Probably, yes, if you value that friend. Only if you value that friend. It will be a confrontation. Opie says, hey all, I, 27 female, have this friend, let's call him Steven, who is 30. Steven has always had a more out there sense of humor, relatable, but anytime I or one of our friends has said that we were uncomfortable with a joke, he has stopped saying it if we communicated that. See, that seems fine to me so far. As the only girl in a friend group of guys who game, we, myself included, will make stereotypically sexist jokes, mostly to mock people who say that stuff wholeheartedly. I'd never felt disrespected by any of them and knew that I could always say, hey, that's the line in the sand for me, about basically anything. Well, they seem like a decent group of boys. Everybody needs some gaming buddies. However, over the past few years, I've noticed a bit of a change in Steven. First, it was a casual relationship he had that didn't pan out, where he turned from calling this girl the most amazing person he'd ever met into talking about how fake she was for leading him on and saying some of those women these days type of comments. He would also make comments about how women on social media have it so easy because they could just show off their bodies and get likes easily. I am a woman on social media with somewhat of a following, but he always followed it up with, but you're not like that, OP. Obviously. Yes, clearly. I painted the whole fence except for that single post. I say if you want to really feel that way, then, just drop it out there. No caveats, no nothing. I'm not even going to bother reassuring you that you're not like that, because deep down in your heart, you know you're not like that, don't you? So you don't need me to say so. And once you attain that level of self-respect for yourself, it'll be really easy to walk away from Steven. There's lots of dudes that game, okay?
So yeah, I'm a gamer. I like video games.
Anyway, recently, some of the comments have started making me uncomfortable. They're not about me, but women in general. He's frequently expressed disappointment with dating and dating apps, but also is very critical of the women on them, saying that he only matches with land whales, and describes not wanting to date a mother as it would be playing on somebody else's save file. That is about the most no-life type of way to put it. I don't think you'd make a decent father, Steven. Yes, please, stay away from the single mothers, okay? You would make a terrible stepfather because you also make a terrible person. Opie says, I never know what to say to all of this because we've been friends for a long while now and already have had a bit of a falling out years ago over a funny video I posted of us where he said I used him to get likes and it was only because I was a woman. I forgave him for that, but it did stick with me, especially with the most recent comments. I understand being bitter, but I don't think the way he's expressing it is good at all. To some extent, I feel like it's almost my responsibility as a friend to tell him that he might want to chill, but I have no idea how to go about doing that without sounding judgmental or making him feel attacked or upset. Like I said, that's part of the confrontation. He is going to feel attacked or upset, but if he's a brainy boy, he'll realize that you're saying these things for his own betterment. Or more realistically, since he's not a brainy boy, his ego will get in the way and the friendship will fall apart forever. Which is good, the less wasted time. We'll find somebody to fill in the gap. Anyway, OP asks, should I leave it be and maybe say, hey, that's not great? Next time he makes a comment like that, say something one-on-one, or just keep doing what I'm doing and keeping my mouth shut. Yeah, well, keeping your mouth shut doesn't really seem to be working, does it? I'm not sure that one-on-one is necessarily the way to go either. Like, a nice group shaming seems to have a decent effect most of the time. As long as the other dudes that you game with are on board, they're not secretly harboring Steven feelings. But yeah, truth of the matter is I don't think Steven understands the difference between men and women. Like, yes, women do have they could get likes on apps if that means something in the real world, which really it doesn't. Maybe you can monetize your own beauty for a time. But being a man also has its advantage, especially if you like loneliness and solitude.
Yeah, sometimes when I'm lonely, I stick my d in baloney.
I build myself up in quiet. I focus on nobody except for me and my own betterment, and I think maybe Steven could take a page from that book, you know? Stop focusing on how many likes your gamer girl friend gets, and yeah, just if that's something you want, then fucking push towards it, you know? Record some of your gameplay, offer some commentary, I don't know. Let's Play as a format is basically completely dead, but I'm sure you have something interesting in your head to share with the world, Steven, so dig it out and make it happen, and stop blaming other people for your problems. See, now you don't even have to confront them, you just share this video with them. You're welcome, OP! We're gonna move on to our next post. This OP says, nice guy finds out I'm a gamer girl, proceeds to cyberstalk me. Oh yeah, well, I guess, sort of same vibes, okay.
There's a gamer girl in my lobby.
Stop.
Should I tell her how I feel about her?
Please don't. No. Please don't.
OP says, I'm not sure if this belongs in this sub or not, but I keep seeing stories like this on TikTok, so I thought I'd share my own for people to enjoy. Yeah, hell yeah, dude. I need to get back on TikTok. I think people are still following me over there. Sometimes I get a notification. I'm like, whoa! I thought I deleted this Chinese spyware off my phone. Where'd that come from? OP says, this is an old story, so I am safe, if anyone is wondering. Also, apologies if this is long. I'll put a TLDR at the end. A while ago, I met this guy on PlayStation 4. He and I used to play GTA together, and we had been friends for a few months. For obvious reasons, I never put any of my personal information on my profile. We called each other by our gamer tags and never had any issues with our friendship. Yeah, keep it in game. That's what this is about, right? You want to do some heists and shit? He's like, no, OP, I'm trying to heist your heart. Then one day, while we were gaming, my mom walked in and called me by my real name while my mic was on. Oh, thanks, fucking docs, Mom. My name is very obviously feminine, so he immediately was like, wait, you're a girl? And I was like, yeah, you didn't know that? And apparently he assumed that my higher-pitched voice was just because I was like a 14-year-old boy or something. I explained that I was a grown woman, the same age as him, and he responded, but I thought you said you had a girlfriend! And I explained, yeah, because I'm a lesbian. I thought after that he wouldn't bring it up again. I was wrong. Yeah, that doesn't usually fix it. This just leads to him proclaiming all the benefits of his magic dong. After he found out I was a girl, and a lesbian one at that, he started treating me differently. Yeah, that's when the friendship ends. He would not stop talking about inappropriate questions like, how do lesbians even do it? And would you ever consider doing it with a guy? And do you think you'd ever be straight if you found the right guy?
Why does everything have to be so complicated?
If you want something bad, you have to fight for it. Break out the L word.
Lesbian?
Very transparent, very disgusting. I'm sad the friendship has to end this way, but it has to end. I can't keep up this charade. I kept telling him that his questions were making me uncomfortable and to stop so we could just play the game. He would stop for a little bit and then, he'd start right back up again. He also kept calling me by my real name when we were in group calls, despite me repeatedly telling him to stop because I didn't like other people knowing my real name. He kept arguing that he was special and different than other guys, and that he was allowed to use it because we're close like that. I had to repeatedly tell him not to call me that. Dude, after like the first warning, I'm out.
I'm f***ing done with your bullshit game. I'm done. This is bullshit.
We're not actually close like that. I don't give a fuck about you. You're somebody I play Grand Theft Auto with. That's it. Eventually, his questions turned into just straight up flirting with me, and he would say things like, I bet I can make you straight if you gave me one night. You're probably only gay because you haven't got any good dick yet.
Or is a fine-looking pink. Yeah. Oh, looks good, huh?
See what I say? It's just, you can mark all the things off on the bingo card. It's so rote and formulaic at this point. There's interesting little twists here and there, but most of the time I know it beat for beat. The final straw for me was when he asked me if your family was held at gunpoint and the man told you that he was going to end them all unless you did it with them. Would you bang a dude then? There's an unhinged scenario you've just come up with. I snapped at him and said that was definitely not okay. I said that was an awfully specific scenario and asked if I should be concerned about what he was planning. He said it was just a joke and tried to backpedal and say that he was just messing with me. Yeah, well, I don't really like to be fucked with in that certain type of way, so we're just gonna not be friends anymore. I'm gonna block you on everything. It is far past that time at this point. After that, I told him he was disgusting and blocked him. Hey, there you go, OP. But he didn't like that and started making account after account to harass me. I would block him, he would disappear for a few months, and then he'd pop back up with a new account messaging me asking, are you still gay? Yes, I'm gayer than ever, as a matter of fact. The last I heard of him was a new account that messaged me. I added it back since I thought it was my friend, but I quickly realized it was him when he started messaging me. He messaged me saying, I've come back to take what's mine, and I want it my way. Well, this ain't Burger King, bitch. There's some wackos on the internet, man. You really don't know who you're interacting with. And I don't want to come out and say it, but I do think that GTA Online attracts the lowest common denominator. Do I play it? Yeah, sometimes. But the 3 or 4 people I've actually interacted with that I met through the game, I don't want to interact with them any more than I have to. I messaged back this time since I was genuinely creeped out and angry, and I said, I was never yours, and I'm not going to be yours. I like women. Why can't you get that through your thick skull? Women greater than you. And even if I did like men, I wouldn't touch you with a 20-foot pole. The next time you add me on one of your burners, I'm reporting you to the police. He, of course, started in with insulting me, calling me the F-slur, and spamming me with male-on-male adult videos, which, that doesn't even make any sense. He just had those on his hard drive. You know the reason why.
There's so much There are literally thousands of files here.
Like, I got this 50 gigs of male-on-male action in order to troll people. It's like, dude, I don't know. 50 gigs is a lot. At a certain point, I think you're sort of keeping this for you, aren't you? Anyway, LP says I reported him and blocked him. After that, I didn't hear from him again. I'm guessing the threat of the police finally scared him and he found some other girl to harass. I hope it's the first one, though. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the second one, but you did the best you could do. You know, you can't save other people. Save yourself first. You should always affix your oxygen mask before helping children or people around you. And for anyone wondering, he never had my address or any personal info aside from my real first name. He didn't even know what state I lived in. So I didn't feel as though I was in any immediate danger. Given that this happened years ago, I'm guessing that nothing will happen at this point. Yeah, nothing ever happens. It's fine. TLDR, guy who used to be my gamer friend turned into a creepy cyberstalker after finding out that I was a lesbian girl. Harassed me on several different accounts until I told him off and threatened to call the police. Never heard from him again after that. Well, sometimes the trash takes itself out, you know? You should have threatened him with the police a lot earlier. Got this paper trail started, you know? But oh well, as long as you escaped, I guess that's the best that we can ask. The big lesson that I learned here today was don't play Grand Theft Auto Online. When they come out with GTA 6, and it's going to cost over $100, don't buy it. And then you can just circumvent all of this bullshit. And also, yeah, it'll save you $100, which is really nice. Anyway, we're going to move on to another story now. Hope you guys are vibing. If you are, check us out on podcast services, you know, Spotify, iTunes, we're basically everywhere. All right, let's get into story number 3. Nice guy hits on my girl and my ex. Damn, bro, he's getting at everybody around you. You gotta start playing some fucking defense or something. OP says, I have a funny but also twisted story to share with you. Smiley face. A few years back, this guy started to advance on my then girlfriend at college. It was very obvious that he wanted more than friendship, at least obvious to me, lol. He made her gifts, constantly texted with her, etc. She was not very open about it, but eventually I heard through a good friend of mine that he confessed to her and that he talked about all his feelings with the whole college and, yeah, basically everybody knows. Apparently she declined, but it was not a good sign that she didn't tell me herself. Honestly, OP, good for you. You need to get out and start running real fast. OP says, we had a lot of our own problems in the relationship, and eventually we broke up because of other reasons. Yeah, that sounds fine to me. You probably saved yourself years of heartache. So fast forward a year or so, and I made new friends with a group at college, where this guy was also a part of, and I thought to myself, I'm over it. What could go wrong? And we managed to make the group work, even though he kept making inappropriate comments about my ex. Anyway, in that group, I met my now girlfriend, and she is the kindest, sweetest, most beautiful human that I ever met. Honestly, best thing that ever happened to me. Okay, this time maybe you're gonna fight for her honor, right? Because you actually like her? Or are you just gonna let this guy fucking creep around and keep your mouth shut?
You can't keep getting away with it!
Because that's not what men do. If he starts saying something untoward at your girlfriend, you put your hand up and you say, hey buddy, we're not gonna do whatever the fuck that is. And that usually is enough to end it. That's what I said verbatim to some dude that was trying to get grabby with my sister at the club when I was in the US. He buckled like a belt. Most people do. Don't fucking let yourself get played around, OP, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Anyway, this guy is also best friends with girlfriend, and I was suspicious, but kept myself out of it because I trust her, and she didn't have a lot of friends at that time. He started acting distant and withdrew from their friendship, which made my girlfriend worry. She confronted him, and well, he made advances towards her too. Lol. Is that a lol for you? That's more like I feel fire in my belly. I'm going to go to his house and knock on his door with a ReddX Industries brand lead pipe. Come on out, you goofy little goober. I just want to fucking talk to you. He told her that he's always had a crush on her, and that I'm a jerk who stole 2 girls from him now. Yeah, you know what the difference probably is that OP just asks the girls out. He likes them, and then he talks to them and asks them out. This guy just like beta orbits in the hopes that someday somebody will pay attention to him, and it never happens.
You beta orbiter male. You make me feel stronger and smarter because you're here.
You're not attractive or significant enough for it to happen spontaneously, so you gotta make some noise, alright? That's my tip for you. He broke off the friendship with her instantly and hurt her feelings pretty bad. Also talked bad about me and our friend group. Yeah, who gives a shit? Say what you want to say. After that, I had enough and confronted him in the cafeteria. Oh, here we go. Punch him right in his shit. Put the boots to him, son. I told him that he should be embarrassed and that I'm ashamed of the way he acted and how he talked about my friends. He looked at me like I was a ghost. A couple hours later, I was still quite shaken up by it. I generally don't confront people like that. Well, sounds like you need to fucking start. And that's not a bad first experience either. You scared the boy. Like I said, they always buckle. Sometimes you get punched in the mouth, but I don't know. That's like 1 time out of 100. Roll the dice. You're good. Anyway, OP says, well, the dude called my girlfriend and talked to her quite normally and wanted to share feelings which made her quite uncomfortable. Then he called me. And man, this guy did not stop whining about how I could dare speak to him in that way and that he didn't do anything wrong. At first, I tried to explain to him why his actions were not so nice, but eventually, after he wouldn't hear it and kept whining, I lost it. I told him to fuck off and that he should be glad I didn't smack him. Yeah, there you go. Hope he's finding his nuts. You love to see it.
That's what I love.
These nuts.
After that, everything was fine until recently, a couple months later, this guy starts talking to her again, even though he said that they shouldn't even say hi to each other anymore, which makes her incredibly uncomfortable, and continues to talk to people about his feelings and how hurt he is and how I was the only one that fucked up by speaking to him. Oof. Now my girlfriend just wants to tell him to go screw. God bless her, but I can't help but feel bad for the guy. He clearly has some issues, or maybe he's just a jerk. Anyway, feel free to share your thoughts, and if you encountered people like that too, tell me how you dealt with them. Thanks. I told you the way that I deal with it. I nip it right in the fucking bud. I'm not gonna let it get past the first sentence. Seems a little off to me, and I'm like, what the fuck's that about? The truth is, he's just a cowardly little worm boy. He wants to talk around behind people's back and stuff like this, but then you confront him and he's like, duh, I don't know what to say. Well, good. Keep your fucking mouth shut then. I bet if you did punch him, he'd never come near that girl again. You should try it out. Not that I endorse physical violence or anything like that, but it is really effective sometimes.
Look, violence is never the answer.
It's the solution.
This could happen for the rest of your life. Every girlfriend that you get, he's trying to worm his way in. We could either put up with that for the next 20 years or just knock him on the chin real good. It's your choice, you know? Choose your own adventure, but I know what I'd do. Definitely don't show any sympathy for him, whatever you do. That's how worms like this subsist. He's only gotten through life because of other people's sympathy. It's time to cut that shit out. Welcome to adulthood. Nobody cares about you, and me least of all. Good luck with it, OP. That's all I gotta say. We'll move on into another story now. This one called The Worst Hinge Date I've Ever Been On. Online dating just doesn't seem like the way to go. I understand it's convenient and shit like that, but it's rife with failure. Destined to collapse. I've never seen anything good truly come out of online dating. And then people are like, oh, well, we got married and stuff like that. Like, yeah, but you're against the odds at a certain point. The girls on that app that want to get married, you better hope you find them in the first week. They're going to get snatched right off there. Anyway, whatever. OP says, disclaimer, sorry if this is long-winded. I'm not great with explaining things via texts. Me either, but don't worry about it. Honestly, I don't know if this even counts as a nice guy, but I just want to share my story of the most uncomfortable date ever. So we met on Hinge, which in my opinion is a lot better than Tinder if you're actually looking to date someone. That's fair. I think Tinder's like mostly for hookups, right? Personal opinion here, but yeah, fucking gross. You won't catch me on that. He was nice on text and didn't give me any hints of how the date would actually go. I will admit that some of his texts were pure cringe, and some of the things he would say were moving too fast for me, seeing as though we hadn't even met yet. And yet you still decided to go. That's interesting. I guess you didn't want to ghost him, you know, just being nice, see how it goes. Maybe it's better in person. It's never better in person. So come round to the first time that we were meant to meet. My cat died on that day, so obviously I wasn't going to go. I tell him, and he's completely understanding of the situation, and we rearrange. Okay, bare minimum, but I was like, oh, he is really nice. Anyway, fast forward to a week later, and we finally meet up. We meet at a bar and it's going okay. Conversation's going smooth. He even brought trinkets to look at, which I love myself a cool trinket, shrug emoji. Now this is where it starts to get uncomfortable. Before we get into the uncomfortable part, can I ask about the trinkets? What is that?
Holy Jesus. What is that? What the is that?
They had this street in Thailand of trinkets. We bought a trinket for money and a trinket to remove obstacles. We've kept them in the house even to this day. And I believe in them wholeheartedly because like maybe a month or two after we came back from Thailand, the YouTube channel started to take off. I was able to quit my copywriting job. I wish I could knock OP for liking trinkets, but I tend to like a good trinket myself. Something tells me though these are not trinkets from Thailand. There's no backstory to these trinkets. It's some plastic crap that you bought, isn't it? I'm in the market for something fucking mystical and magical, and you brought me a plastic Charizard.
We'll always be special friends.
Anyway, tell me about the uncomfortable part, OP. She says, we sat across from each other, like you would do, but he started asking me to move next to him. I said, no, I'm okay over here, and moved on from it, but he did not let up at all. You realize you could just end this date right now? You brought your own car, right? Like, you know what? Already the vibe is off. It's not working out. Like, you met at a bar and things were going okay. Well, guess what? My standard is higher than okay. I'm not going to marry somebody that I just think is okay. And that is the reason that I would date somebody. So, I don't know. Maybe OP has different priorities. But I do ask you to look inside yourself and really question if okay is okay enough. Anyway, OP says he couldn't take my no as an answer, so I had to just end up moving to sit next to him so he would stop, because he would not stop pulling a face that I would say was like puppy dog eyes, and it was just making me cringe so bad. Just leave. Well, why are you forced to sit next to him? Say, hey, I'm going to go to the bathroom and crawl out a fucking window, you know? Desperate times call for desperate measures. OP says, mind you, this man was 31 years old and I was like 23, nearly 24 at the time. He then proceeded to grab my leg and put it over his, to which I was like, This is the reason he wanted you to sit next to him, you see. I kept pulling it off of his leg, but he again just kept putting it back on and acting offended if I took my own fucking leg away. Honestly, I know what you might be thinking. Why didn't you just leave at this point? And I really wish that I had. Well, you know what they say, hindsight's 20/20. Just don't let that shit happen again. Hope he says my dumbass then agrees to go on this Ferris wheel with him. He's also been constantly whispering in my ear about how he wants to kiss me passionately. And I genuinely feel so gross just typing this up, Lamau. I don't know how this has gone to like a 3-stage date if you're having that miserable of a time. The bar was okay. Like I said, okay is not good enough. I'm gone already. The restaurant, you force me against my will to sit next to you, and then you commandeer my leg. That's strike 2 at the very least. I guess the Ferris wheel is strike 3. We really gotta wait until we're up in the air in a little fucking metal bucket. Completely at the mercy of this weirdo and some carny. I tip him an extra couple bucks and say, don't you dare fucking stop this thing at the top. I want this ride to be over as fast as possible. Anyway, he says we end up on the Ferris wheel, and he ends up unzipping my coat when I told him, no, I'm cold, please stop. And then he brushed his hand over my breast, and that's where I drew the line and told him, no, that's way too far. The way he would just constantly apologize, but keep doing these things when I would tell him no multiple times is just fucking crazy. See, another little worm boy sliding through life on other people's sympathy. I don't even know how we ended up on the Ferris wheel, if I'm honest. It's a bad situation to put yourself in. I hope you realize at that point, and next time we would make different choices. But yeah, if he keeps apologizing and then call him out on it. Say your apology means fucking nothing to me because I told you this 30 minutes ago, and you continue to do it. Now I'm going home before I'm forcibly undressed from my jacket again. Weird. Anyway, at the end of the date, I was mentally exhausted and extremely uncomfortable, and I wanted to go home.
I wanna go home. I wanna go home.
Yes, let's lay down and have a nap. A big sleep. He takes me to the train station and is hinting for me to stay over at his. Obviously, I say no. He then proceeds to tell me that he was gonna send me a dong pic when he got home. And I was actually mortified that he thought that that was okay to say. I tell him that I don't appreciate unsolicited pics, so do not do it. I get home and the next day I blocked and removed him from Instagram. Didn't give him an explanation because I genuinely just didn't want to talk to him. Yeah, he knows why. It's not ghosting if he knows why. There was other stuff throughout the date that was just really weird. The way he just wouldn't stop touching me. I got overstimulated so that I had to take myself to the bathroom to calm down. I wish I had left, but I think I felt stuck and worried. I mean, a little bit. If you don't have your own car, that complicates things. He's got to give you a ride to the train stations and shit like this. But again, I guess we chalk it up to lessons learned, you know? Truth be told, I don't give a fuck if I gotta walk to the bus stop. I'm getting out of here one way or the other. Like, it's always within your control to grab the reins of your own life, but I understand sometimes it's difficult. Social contracts and that. But he's broken the social contract multiple times. Maybe not at the bar with the okay conversation, but like forcing you to sit next to him and grabbing your leg and shit like that? No. You're getting way too fucking comfortable there, Buster. Call him Buster, then he knows you mean business. Opie says, I would like to point out that he was fully acting like we were already in a long-term relationship, and he was saying how he wanted me to move into his house in 6 months' time, and that I wouldn't need to work, and he'd pay for everything, and also the fact that he hadn't been in a relationship for 7 years, and claimed that every girl he went on a date with was too much, literally blaming the girls for his shitty behavior. Genuinely crazy stuff. I mean, even the fact that you're talking about other girls while you're on a date with somebody who is not those other girls, that's a bad play right there.
What do we do when we see a red flag? Right, we stop!
Right out of the gate, you're falling flat on your fucking face. I guess I shouldn't give this guy any tips, you know? He's not gonna use his powers for good. That is what I know for sure. Gosh, online dating just really is so fucking bleak, isn't it? Are you able to offer us any sort of hope regarding all of these tales, young gubbins?
You lived, you learned, you leveled up in spotting red flags. Next boss fight, you be ready. Gubbins.
I did say that. Now, you know, hindsight's 20/20, and we won't get caught up next time, you know? We know what to look for next time. That's really the best you could do with a situation like this. I'm sorry you had to experience it, but it's all part of living, learning, growing. All right, we'll do one more post so we can get 5 in here. That's a nice round number. So this post is called 3 years and ongoing of being stalked and harassed by this nice guy. God, 3 years, that's a hell of a thing. OP says the title sums it up pretty well. Quick backstory, this guy had been asking out my spouse since high school, so about 15-ish years ago, my 32 female spouse, 31 non-binary, has told him multiple times that they were not interested. 3 years ago, in a desperate attempt to finally shake him off and prove that I was real and this wasn't a girlfriend that lives in Canada situation, we met him for dinner at a sushi place. It looked like he took the hint, until we received a text where he said, I think it's time I admit my intentions. If you think we could ever have a chance at being a throuple, let me know. How did I know that that was going to be his next move? It's like, I got a date with 2 people at the same time. No, these 2 people are sitting here trying to tell you to go screw, and you're not getting the message. OP says, I don't know how to link a screenshot, but that is a word-for-word quote. My spouse rightfully called him out on this, told him how disrespectful he was by lying to them about moving on, how he blatantly ignored boundaries, and I need you to put this fantasy away for good. Yeah, I don't think he's going to. Not until you buy a gun. That's my solution to this.
I hope you bulletproof for this about to hurt.
Because my spouse is honestly too kind of a human. I love this about them. They always try to see the good in everyone, even nice guys. They did allow him back into our life after he promised that he had moved on. We would soon find out that was a lie. Yeah, there's something of a pattern here. He told us, it's just so hard just being friends with you guys. And we kicked him out and told him off. At first, it was a break until we could finally talk civilly, but his persistence to keep trying to talk to us despite us clearly stating multiple times to not talk to us until we were ready ended in us blocking him across the internet. A really good way to go. I love that. Easy, convenient, no fuss, no muss. From then on, he continually made new accounts over and over to reach out to us. We never responded and kept on blocking. We thought the hint was the size of the sun. The messages switched abruptly between love bombing and petty insults. He even threatened to force himself upon my spouse and I. It's a good thing you two didn't drink wine with me because you'd make terrible mothers. What the fuck does that? It doesn't even make sense. We reported this behavior to the local police department several times. He even got a second number to text me December 2023 because I had his original number blocked in my phone. I've since changed my number again. He said I needed to grow up and get over it. Just drop it and forgive. I might forgive. I never forget. I'll let it go just because I don't want you living rent-free in my head, but I also never want you to darken my doorway again. I really appreciate it. Opie says, I'd like to remind you, Reddit, that I have not said a word to him since June 2022 and just wordlessly blocked him on sight. This text also said, stop ghosting good people. Yeah, because good people harass others for years, right? Well, you see, this is the only way that he can get through his life. He has to lie and keep his ego inflated. He is the hero of this story, the main character, if you will. And you guys are just evil villains for not wanting him, for not seeing the greatness that he has to offer. It's all sarcasm, of course. I'm pretty sure he's only going to make everything worse for everybody involved. So this is good. Keep swerving him, as far as I'm concerned, as much as possible. OP says, now 3 years later, he is so upset. He's actively pretending to be me on Twitter, posting about how psycho my spouse is, and that he's really just a good guy. He's made posts about how I am planning to divorce my psycho bitch spouse, and that I'm some MAGA lover. He's trying to trash my name and ruin my online reputation in true textbook nice guy toddler level behavior. This is still ongoing as of this posting. He still thinks he's such a good guy and the true victim here due to being ghosted. Yeah, he's just going to keep telling himself that over and over. And really going back and trying to explain the situation is not going to fix it. So let him spin his wheels as far as I'm concerned. I don't need to spend any more energy on this. You're already getting more from me than you deserve as I work to avoid you. Hopefully a decade in, he'll finally get the message. Or we start the paper trail and call the cops and, restraining order and such. Because, yeah, after 3 years, I'd highly suggest starting a paper trail. This might not stop. Or buying a gun. That'll stop it for sure.
I have a device that will solve all of our problems.
Anyway, good posts all, I think. Thank you guys so much for watching. Join up on the Patreon and YouTube memberships. Fourth wall for some merch. I appreciate you. Share the video around if you should like. I'd like to remind you, friends, that you are loved. You are worthy. You definitely deserve it. And I shall see you in the next one. So until then, bye-bye.